So welcome everyone to our fall inaugural meeting, I guess we could call it. At any rate, I'm still celebrating summer. Our meetings are open to the public. If there's anyone new here, welcome. And is there anyone new here who's never been before? Oh, great. Well, not to embarrass you. This is not to embarrass you. But we'd like you to stand and tell us your name and the surnames you are researching. And they don't have to be local surnames, because we have people here who are searching all across the States and British Isles and Europe. If you happen to mention how you found out about the meeting, that's interesting too. And we have a list at the back that you can sign during the break, and then if we ever find someone who matches your interests, we'll let you know. So I'm going to start over on my far left.
I'm Debbie Tabando. Surnames are Tabando and Graziano, which are my husband's.
Tabando and
Graziano.
Tabando and Graziano.
In the UK, Harrison and Ablett.
Harrison and Ablett. Watson. Okay.
And in Scotland, Mitchell.
Mitchell in Scotland. Thank you.
And I found out about the meeting on the webpage.
Great. Okay. Lady in the back.
I'm Anne Holland, and I'm researching my family, which are all in the UK.
Okay, and her families are all in the UK. And what are the last names?
Hewitts and Lowe's.
Hewitts and Lowe's?
Hewitts, H-E-W-I-T-S-O-N.
Hewitts. Oh, Hewittson and?
Lois, L-O-W-I-S.
L-O-W-I-S, Lois. Not Lewis.
No,
Lois. Okay. And?
Okay, my name is Joyce Carley, so I'm looking for Carleys from the UK. And let's see, Flaxman is also from the UK. Humphreys from here, somewhere in Ontario. And Johnson also.
So Johnson, Humphreys,
Flaxman and Carley.
Blacksmith, Flaxman, and Carleys. Thank you. Was there anyone else that I've missed? Just the three. Thank you. I'd like to remind you, and I'll remind you some more about this, there's a fall workshop that we are putting on October 29th. It's an all-day workshop, and it'll be $35 registration, which includes lunch. And we now have two confirmed speakers, Ruth Blair and our very own Steve Wood, who is definitely going to give us all the updates on Scottish. Don't flinch.
Or one workshop's worth.
Yes, it's only an hour, Steve. You can hit the highlights. So, without any further ado, I'd like to hand the program over to Christine and her able helper. She's going to tell us all about resources at the Oshawa Family History Center, which is part of the LDS Church at Thornton and Rossland. Okay. Christine, could you tell us a little about yourself? Because we don't, our program speaker, our program chairman is not here tonight.
That's okay. So my name is Christine Ferguson, and I am the director at the Oshawa Family History Center, and we're located at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at Rossland and Thornton Roads. And my passion for family history didn't get started till about 8 years ago. And I always was the kid that liked to sit with the old people and hear the stories, and I just found them fascinating. Because somehow I never liked history when I was in school. It was boring. And I never really could relate what they went through to things that happened in history. So anyway, I started out by walking through cemeteries looking for my family, and in time then got online. And Family Search was one of the first places that I went, and I was amazed at the information that was there. So I'll tell you a little bit this evening about Family Search. Have people here heard about it or use it? Yes? Great. So I'll give you a little bit of history about Family Search. In 1894, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints organized a genealogical society of Utah, and that society eventually evolved into what we know today as Family Search. It is an international, not-for-profit organization that is dedicated to connecting families across generations and to the preserving of the records of mankind. Their purpose is simple: to help people connect with their ancestors through easy access to these records. So what kind of records do they have? They are a collection of documents such as civil registration records, those being church records, wills, births, deaths, land, tax, and military records. They also contain compiled sources of family histories, clan and lineage genealogy, and oral pedigrees, and local histories. I know for myself, when I first started going on Family Search, I found my life story done by a distant cousin, and that really connected me with the past and with someone I had no idea I was related to. So the idea of making all these records available to everyone, anywhere in the world, and preserving our history and these documents is the vision that drives everything behind Family Search. So always remember, their address is familysearch.org, which is easy to remember because family comes first, always. And search for your ancestors. Dot, that's simple. A dot is a break. So take a break from your life, just for a few minutes, and have a look. And org are the first three letters of the most amazing organization in this world that dedicates itself to family history. So Family History, or Family Search, safeguards more than 3.5 billion images and is partnered with over 10,000 archives around the world. And they also have 200,000 volunteers worldwide. So every year they are going all over the world and they are capturing images of all these documents, these censuses, these, marriages, and etc. So what do they do with them? Well, we have a program that's called indexing. So that is translating or transcribing the information that is on these documents so that it's then put in a format where users can access it. So everything you need to know about indexing is found on Family Search. If you like a challenge and like to see if you can understand handwriting and things of the past, it's kind of a lot of fun. So these records are from all around the world, so anyone is welcome to index. You don't have to be a member of the church to do so. And if you happen to read, write, and speak a second language, you're in high demand. So, what do they do with all these records? Where are they? So they're all stored in a facility in Utah known as the Granite Mountain Records Vault. It's an amazing storage facility inside a mountain in Utah. So I have a little clip that I thought I would show you about the facility.
For over 100 years, Family Search, formerly the Genealogical Society of Utah, sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has been gathering, preserving, and sharing the genealogical records of the world. These irreplaceable records tell the stories of individuals, of families, and of nations. These records are brought to the Granite Mountain Records Vault, where 4 key steps of preservation happen. Microfilm masters are preserved and safeguarded. Duplicate copies of microfilm rolls are created and shipped to all parts of the world. Microfilmed records are converted to digital images, making them more easily accessible. Digital image masters are preserved and upgraded as technology changes. We are going to take a look behind the vault door and give you a glimpse of a place few people will ever get to see. It's a whirlwind tour, but you will get to see where the work happens of preserving these important genealogical records. The organized effort to gather these records began in 1894. At first, the collection consisted primarily of books. Then in 1938, microfilming began. By the early 1950s, it became clear that a permanent facility was needed to store and protect the growing collection of microfilms. The site that was chosen is located in the mountains near Salt Lake City, Utah. Exploratory work at the site began in 1958. Construction got underway in 1960, and the project was finished in 1965. The vault was designed to protect the collection of genealogical records from decay, natural disasters, and man-made calamities. Let's go inside. The vault lies under more than 700 feet of solid mountain stone and consists of a series of tunnels. The vault comprises over 65,000 square feet. Near the front of the facility is an operations area with workspace for about 60 staff members. Beyond the workspaces are tunnels that lead to 6 storage areas. The tunnels are 25 feet wide and 15 feet high. Entrance to the 6 archive areas is guarded by heavy vault doors. Nature helps keep the underground temperature inside the vault at a consistent 55 degrees year-round. Relative humidity is controlled at 35%. An elaborate circulation and filtering system keep fresh air moving through the storage area and minimizes dust and other airborne particles. Under these ideal conditions, it is anticipated that microfilm can last 300 years. At the back of the vault, the mountain provides a natural source of pure spring water, which feeds a 33,000-gallon reservoir. The water collected in this reservoir is utilized in microfilm reproduction and other processes in the vault. The natural features of this mountain, together with human ingenuity and foresight, have combined to create ideal storage conditions for these priceless records. Deep inside the mountain are 6 archival chambers, carved from granite and lined with steel. The records will be secure here for generations to come. Approximately 3.5 billion images on 2.4 million rolls of microfilm and a growing collection of digital media are stored in these massive vaults. There is still more room to grow. The world is changing. With the advent of the digital age and the internet, it is now possible to share information instantly around the world.
Digital technology has absolutely revolutionized the way that we are able to do family history now. We've moved from a microfilm technology to the digital technology, which moved it from a family history center or a library environment all the way to a person's home where they can have access to them any time of day.
In fact, Family Search is making its vast collection of genealogical records available online. Billions of images currently stored on microfilm at the Granite Mountain Records Vault are being converted to digital images, a process that will take years to complete. But converting existing microfilm records is only part of the story. New digital images are captured every day by Family Search crews all over the world. These images are stored directly on digital hard drives and tapes and transferred to the Granite Mountain Records Vault. Whether the images are captured digitally or converted from microfilm, one of the challenges facing Family Search is how to preserve these massive amounts of digital data.
One of our greatest challenges moving from microfilm to digital technology is preservation. Most people are aware that there isn't yet a long-term storage solution for maintaining digital images over time.
We know that the life expectancy of digital media is short. So the key to digital preservation lies in the ability to make a perfect copy. A copy of a copy loses quality on a photocopy machine. In similar fashion, microfilm images lose resolution in the duplication process. With digital technology, however, each copy made is a perfect replica of the original. And so, even though digital images must be migrated or copied to new media every few decades, the images can be preserved indefinitely. Because digital technology provides the ability to make perfect copies, we can also create copies of the images in two separate vaults, which provides better protection than we currently have with microfilm. Digital technology allows Family Search to digitize, preserve, and share its valuable collection of genealogical records. The records stored in these granite chambers include information on billions of people from over 100 countries, representing more than 170 languages. Many of the records kept here are irreplaceable. Some represent the only copy in existence. The strength of this granite mountain reflects the commitment of Family Search to preserving and sharing the records of the world.
There we go, quite an interesting place. So that is on the international level, and that brings us down to where I come in. And I am at the Family History Center here in Oshawa. There are many around in many communities. You simply go online and see where the closest one is for you. But basically, we give one-on-one assistance. If you're kind of stuck, you're just getting started, whatever it might be, we'll give you a hand and try to direct you on a path where you have success, because there's nothing like success. Providing access, we provide access through the records through the internet at our facility. We have access to the 19th century British Library newspaper archives, the Alexander Street Press, the American Civil War, the research data, letters, diaries, images, photographs, posters, as well as women and social movement in the United States. Ancestry.com, we have the institutional version for the United States, Australia, Canada, Germany, Sweden, and the UK. Find My Past, again, it's an institutional version, so you get a few things that you don't necessarily get at home. Fold3.com, Kinpoint, the premium edition, MyHeritage, the library edition, newspaper archives, paper trail, Mozilla.org is a premium service. We also have the ability, you saw on the little clip where they had all these microfilms. You can order in microfilms that have to do with your genealogy and your people you were looking for, and you can get them on loan. They come to our center and we keep them there, but you come in to view them. And while you're there, you have access to being able to print out copies or scan, things like that. As well on site, we have some microfilm collections, such as Scotland, births, marriages, and deaths from 1855 to 1920. England and Wales, again, births, marriages, deaths from 1837 to 1903. Ireland, Northern and Basic Ireland, births, marriages, and deaths, 1845 to 1921. And Isle of Man, births, deaths, and marriages. We also have some local books of local history, as well as a few other collections that you might find interesting, so you can always drop by and check out what we have. I'm hoping this year to start offering some free how-to classes. Usually we post those sort of things on our website, and you can see where we are from there. And next year, August of 2017, we are hosting the One World, One Family Conference. I don't know if any of you have attended it all in the past. It's been at Brampton for many years and was in Etobicoke this year. but we are actually hosting it here next year. So there's always fabulous speakers and everything that have to do with family history, and it's just wonderful. So there's usually a small fee for that as well, and it also includes your lunch. So as of 2014, there are more than 4,700 family history centers in 134 countries. There's no cost to visit the center or the Family Search Library in Utah. They're open to anyone who is interested in genealogical research. And they are operated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I mentioned once before, you can go online to the Family Search site and you can find the location of a family history center close to you. You can call Salt Lake, or you can just Google and you'll be sure to find this. So I guess then our Family History Center, we have 5 computers that are open for people to use. Sometimes people don't have computers of their own at home, so they come in and use ours. You're welcome to bring in your laptop or a tablet, and we have Wi-Fi for those people. Our volunteer consultants are happy to give you suggestions, as I say, and help you in any way that they can. Most of our consultants have many years of knowledge and many years of working in family history. We also have many are members of the church, but we also have a few that are not, and they are amazing people. So anyway, I guess next is let's go online and have a look at the website. So we've gone to familysearch.org, and this is where I've logged in. The first thing you'll need to do is create a username and a password for yourself. And make sure you write them down, because quite often people think they won't forget, and then the next time they go to actually log in, they have forgotten what the password is. And then you have to call Salt Lake for them to get you back in. Just a word of caution. So I'm logged in. This is my family tree. So under the heading at the top where you see family tree, there are other boxes. So tree, this is my tree. You can break it down to person. You can find a person by typing their name in, and lists, and then I'll just here I go. And where it says family booklet, this is the booklet that they're actually talking about. They offer it online, which I prefer because when I get faced with these little boxes for a story, I fill them up very quickly. I guess I'm wordy. But it gives you an outline as to how to tell stories from your own memories about the members of your family so that they can be passed on. So I like to do it online because my tree is there. Okay? And then next is memories. We have the gallery. We now have the ability to add pictures to the family tree. People, and again, find. You are looking up various people who would be in that tree. So here's my gallery of pictures that I've loaded and then attached to various people in the tree. Search. Search, you can search records. If you go, yes, you can fill in people's first names. The more information you have about someone, the better chance you are going to have of finding them. So you simply type it in and away you go. Genealogies, this is where other people, like my distant cousin who wrote a little booklet about herself, this is where I found that type of thing. So you may find some surprises in there. Catalog. The catalog is about ordering films. If you're looking for information about your family name or a particular person, you can put it in there, and then they will refer you to a film number or a fiche number. And books. Again, it's similar where you can find various books about different places and the people there. And the wiki was the last one under search, yes. The wiki is a cool place. It's got all kinds of stuff, and you could spend days looking in here. You simply start by clicking on the area that you're looking for information for, and you go from there. But it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a smorgasbord of information. It's really huge. Indexing. We sort of touched on this. They have a program. You can go online. You can have a look at what they're talking about. But as I say, this is the part where people go in and help out our worldwide family. So I think that's about it. I have some handouts if people would like them. So remember, family always comes first. Search for your ancestors. Dot, take a break from life just for a few minutes. And org is the first 3 letters of the most amazing, dedicated organization to family history. Thank you. I have one other little film if you'd like to, or clip if you'd like to see it. I talk about family search going in and capturing all these images of records. And there was a little island in the South Pacific that was totally devastated by hurricanes. And because the church had been in and had done all this, family search had been there and done all this, their records were all preserved. I can really appreciate it because a lot of family records that I've looked for myself got burned up in fires. So I can really appreciate that a whole country would really benefit from this. Anyway, we'll just show you the little clip.
Our house is on Niue Island in the southwest Pacific. We've lived in it for many years and we built the house ourselves.
I believe from indications that the population is about 1,300 or 1,400.
If you want to live in the tropics, you've got to be prepared for hurricanes.
A tropical island disturbances formed west of Cook Island, moving north-northwest.
Every year we have warning. Sometimes we take heed of it, sometimes we think, well, it's gonna miss.
The Niue government have had a bit of difficulties with preservation of records. Like in developing countries, they are limited resources.
The records of Niue are very important to us. The record needs to be upgraded. It's fading, it's rotting, and it's gonna go away unless something be done.
Present location is 120 degrees west, 15 degrees south. This is an extremely dangerous Category 5 cyclone with sustained winds of 285 kilometers per hour.
When all of a sudden you can start hear the wind blowing a bit more and faster and quicker.
I battened down the house, nailed up all the windows and the doors and put everything away.
It started ripping the roofs off, but this was the worst hurricane cyclone that we've ever had.
This was actually big waves crashing onto buildings.
As we were sitting in the living room, a huge wave hit the house. We never heard it coming and we never saw it. And the whole room filled up with seawater.
In 2004, a maximum force Category 5 cyclone struck the island nation of Niue, 1,500 miles northeast of New Zealand. It was was miraculous that only 2 people lost their lives as the devastation leveled a long coastal area. Although it was perched 90 feet above sea level, the home of Henny and Ernie Welsh was swept away as Herculean waves rose up the cliffs, crushed and devoured plant life, and carried man-made structures out to sea. The rest of the island weather had wind gusts up to 200 miles per hour. Years later, the scars are largely still visible. Government Minister Tiongia Sionoholo summed up the damage to his area.
The cyclone damage was basically saltwater damage caused by storm surge. It caused the waves to come right up to where the buildings were. And for the museum, it was total loss. In the museum, I believe the collection there was physical items from a collection around the island. In the Justice Department, our records are basically to do with land and registers of births and marriages, and records from the courts.
Years earlier, family search volunteers from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had meticulously microfilmed many of Niue's vital records. Stored in the Granite Mountain Vault in the mountain range above Salt Lake City, Utah, new copies of the destroyed records were presented to the government of Niue. These valuable documents include 30,000 images of birth, death, and marriage records, and an index of Europeans who immigrated to Niue. The documents also included genealogies of Niue women, which are used for determining property rights, as well as some other genealogies that could be used to establish ownership by inheritance.
It is of significance factor for us that we can always fall back on what has been microfilmed beforehand. At that stage, I was quite happy that said, well, even if we lose some of these things, we still have records we can fall back onto. So we're very happy with that.
The fury of nature took a heavy toll on the trees, buildings, and people on Niue. But even when a natural disaster destroys the physical originals, the vital records that preserve the memories and events of a people need not be lost forever. Restoring the records of the past is one part of helping the residents of this island rebuild and look forward to the future.
Oh, sure. I forget about questions. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
When is your center open?
Okay, in the little handouts, I do have that information, but we are open on Tuesday mornings from 10 until 2, Wednesday mornings 10 until 2, Wednesday evenings 7 to 9, and the second and fourth Saturday of the month from 9 till noon. And you can always give us a call if you really can't make those times, and leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you, and we can maybe make arrangements to have a special appointment. Yes?
Quite often they said you have to make an appointment to use the microphone we used in the past.
No, actually, it's been pretty good lately. Sometimes the computers can get busy in the morning sessions, the evening and Saturday sessions tend not to be as busy. So, but we haven't had a problem for a while. So I think having the 5 machines now and that has kind of made it a little easier.
One of the reasons for that is that all of the microfilms will eventually be digitalized, and they're hoping that by 2018, 2019, there will be no need for microfilm anymore. It'll all be digitalized.
Yeah, there's so much now that you can access from home, but as I say, if you ever get stuck or you have any questions, or just come in and see us, we love to have people come in. Yes?
Is there a charge for any of the services?
None at all. The only thing you would get charged for is if you were going to order in a microfilm for yourself, and it can be for a 3-month period or an extended period, and that is basically until they say, hey, we want it back. It can be years. So I believe it's $8 for 3 months and around 20, I believe, for the extended. Yes, yes, sir. In the United States, yes. Probably to do with voting, being able to own property, that type of thing, because for a long time when we couldn't even own property. Right. Yeah. And they have to do with the United States, so.
Do you have a local collection, like a collection of like books or things like that?
We have a few books that we have picked up from the area that have been put out and donated to the center, yes.
So you do take donations?
We do take donations of those type of books. We love local history, and it's really nice if we can have it within our center. Okay, that's it. Oh.
In terms of new projects, are there plans to digitize church records, say, for example, the United Church of Canada?
I would imagine if they allow it, then yes, because there's quite an extensive collection of the Catholic Church records, and some, I think, Presbyterian. So, yeah, I think in time that they're hoping to get all of those records, and I think it's just a matter of time. Yes?
Some of those churches are digitizing their own records.
And I was going to say they could be doing their own, yeah. Yes, sir. The Friedman Project, yes. You can actually go online.
Is it online?
Yes, it is. With the indexing, you can go in and look at the list. It says projects. You can actually go in and look up the Friedman Project, and you can help do some indexing if you wanted to. I don't know if it's available for use yet. I know that this summer the Smithsonian was supposed to do a big thing with it, but I don't really know if it happened or not. So I'm not sure how much is there yet. They had a huge amount of records, and I know a year ago they were saying the Smithsonian's going to have this big thing, and then they looked at it and they said, oh, we only have 10% done. And so they opened it up and asked us if we would help, if Family Search would help as well. So it's made faster work, but there are a lot of records to go through. But quite interesting when you're looking at them and the kind of things. People don't have names sometimes, and they're just referred to as a man 34 or whatever, you know, and that's about it. They really were nameless in a lot of cases. So, okay, yeah.
I just wanted to mention something. I'm an indexer, and I did some of the Friedman's records, and it's a great way to learn history, what happened at certain points. I've done United States, I've done Canada, I've been doing it for quite a long time. And then all of a sudden you see the results on Family Search, or even in Ancestry, because they partnership on a lot of work in that. And
And what I thought was really cool, I've done indexing myself, was I was doing Canadian records and happened to run across a couple of my own family as I was going through. So that was a real bonus as I went through the information. Yes?
I'm indexing war diaries, and even though I haven't found my own ancestry,
Right.
it's really interesting
Yes.
to do that. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes?
I just started to index because then we send out information to people.
Right.
And I thought, well, try it. And it's actually very interesting because you have to also select the state.
Yes.
Which is good, you know, if you're looking for specific ancestors.
Right.
And now they just send out another invitation for marriage.
Yes, I got one the other day myself, so Yeah, so it's really rewarding work. It's fun. Until I had eye surgery recently, I used to start my morning with one batch of indexing. So I have to get back into my groove of one batch of indexing at least a day. But okay. Great. Oh, don't run away.
Don't run away. So on behalf of the group, I'd like to say thank you. Christine and helper,
James.
James,
My
thank
husband,
you.
James.
Oh, you're a special helper.
A special helper.
Your husband, Jean. So James and Christine, thank you so much for coming to bring us up to date on FamilySearch.org, as well as the new, improved Family History Center. It's so much appreciated by everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have to say that somewhere along the line, I have heard announcements of several, it's not one single database, the Freedmen Bureau. There's different parts to it, and I've heard of about 3 of them in the last month being announced that they are online. I don't know which ones, I don't remember, but I do remember that 3 of the databases are online, because there are several, well, quite a few parts to the actual Freedmen's Bureau. There were bank records and there were different types of records. So just get that Google out and ask. Okay. So at this point, we'll take a break for about 15 minutes and talk to our new people. Double check their names, and the list is at the back with John for you to write your names down for us. And we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Thank you. If you could take your seats, we'll reconvene. B, do you have any correspondence for us?
We have correspondence that comes in either by snail mail or by email. What I do is I read out the date, then I'll read you about it. If the names interest you, remember the date. I'll say it again at the end. So the first one came in June 20th, and it's looking for Jane Bell, John Bell, and William Bell. And that was June 20th. That came from a guy in Newcastle, John Bell. The next one is July 21st, and it says, my mother Janet Henderson was born in Orono in August 1836. Her father George Wannon Henderson entered her in the Orono Fall Fair baby contest. It was either September 1936 or September 1937. We used to have a copy of the issue with her picture. She's turning 80 this year, and I thought it would be neat for her to see the picture or article from the newspaper when she won the Best Baby contest. And that was, again, the 21st of July, and it's Jill Alexander Black. Doesn't say where she comes from because it's email. The next one came in August 2nd, and I'm looking for one of my ancestors, Peter Kowaleski, died June 17th, 1918, and could have been buried in the Ukraine I'm not going to say this right, Volodymyr and St. Olahoff Cemetery. I'm also looking for my great-great-grandfather, Aaron Hills, and his wife, Elizabeth Richards. They were supposed to have been buried in the old Orono Cemetery. Aaron died in 1874, and I don't have the date of his wife. That's Misha Clark, and that was August 2nd. The next one is really a research one, and they don't have a date on it, but we received it 13th of August. I'm a descendant of Nathan Heselwood, 1795 to 1884 approximately, who I believe is buried along with his wife Elizabeth Fuster in the Mount Carmel Cemetery on Raglan Road in Oshawa, or at least their headstone is there. And again, that was the 13th of August, and that was William L. Hazelwood. The next one came in on the 13th of August. My family's originally from Scotland and England, and as least far back as I've gotten. They resided in Toronto area when they came to Canada. She doesn't really have more of a question than anything, just that she doesn't tell who they are. But that was August 13th. Well, she doesn't have it. I realize she doesn't have a name in there, just her name. The next one comes from Richard Duell, and it was the 16th of August. He's looking for Marie Ann Duell, Oshawa Union Cemetery, Section I. He knows right where they are, Durham Township, Whitby East. They're also looking for second great-grandparents Henry and Mary. 1861, Ontario Whitby East Township had Henry Duell, age 50, Mary Duell, age 48, Henry Duell, age 12, Job Duell, age 6, and Lydia Duell, age 4. I know that Mary's middle initial was A from when they were living in Illinois. I've been looking for her for a long time. I know that the Oshawa Union burial is Marie and not Mary, but my gut is telling me that it's her. D-E-U-E-L spelling is quite unique in that area. The variation of D-E-W-E-L-L is much more common. And again, that was the 16th of August, and it was Richard Duell. That was just about cemeteries. Okay, this one came in on the today, the 6th of September, 2016, and it's from Carolyn Jensen. I've been researching my family and I found an interesting item on Ancestry.com's Canadian Genealogical Index. It refers to Josephine Carey living in Whitby, Ontario in 1869, and the source says N.J. Covey, Whitby Church Record, 1831 to 1869, Whitby, Oshawa Branch, Ontario Genealogical Society. So of course they contact us and would like some information on her if possible. And again, that was today's date, the 6th of September. And Carolyn Jensen. That's it. All yours, right?
Your mention of cemeteries, I want to give you a cemetery report because although there wasn't much I did as chair this summer, I certainly did a lot as your cemetery coordinator this summer. So we got everything all ready to scanned, new front pages where they were needed. It's all poised and has been for about 6 weeks, waiting for provincial head office to learn how to put the cemetery up on the East Door. So we've hit that snag, but it will eventually get there as soon as someone teaches the secretary how to do it. So we've given her one township and we're just kind of, every 3 weeks I kind of send her a little, how's it going? And we'll find out how that works. But we were actually very surprised when we finally got to the end of the stuff we could do in the office. So we started doing road trips. And that was Janice, myself, and Deb. Put your hand up, Deb. Okay. And we've been going around Durham region trying to find all those cemeteries that aren't on a road. You know, they're in a field somewhere, or a forest, or a ravine, or somewhere on somebody's farm. And of course, all our old cemeteries just gave lot and concession. Well, it can be a challenge to find where in that 200 acres that cemetery is. So I have to report, we've actually found the Lamoureux Cemetery in Pickering Township. We found the Lent Cemetery, which is on Cowanville Road, east of Newcastle. the Coulter Hamilton Cemetery, which is on the Banstra Farm in Newcastle. We found Nay Staples and the McNeil Elliott up around Lescard, those two. We've got a hint on where the Billings Cemetery is up near Enterprise Hill, and I now know where Enterprise Hill is. And I know where the old log schoolhouse is from Enterprise Hill. So it's been a very learning experience over the summer. We've consulted with Helen Schmidt, who is the expert on Clark Township, the absolute expert on that area. She used to be on the Clark Abandoned Cemeteries Committee. So we took her for a little ride last week, and that's where we've gotten our hints on the Billings Cemetery. And we've found a few others that I can't remember the names of now. So we've had a great fun out there, wandering around in 35-degree weather with our hats and our sunscreen, and after about 3 hours you say, that's enough, let's go home. But it's been a fun summer that way.
Nancy?
Yes?
Did Helen Schmidt say anything about the dig going on about 1.5 kilometers north of Kirby?
No.
115?
Where
No.
the 407 is going to link up with 115?
Is there a dig going on there? There was something very suspicious looking. Okay, come on up, Dan.
Curious me.
She didn't
Stop.
say anything
He stopped and
about it.
asked them.
We went by that. She went, oh, I wonder what that's about.
Well, I did the same thing. I wondered what that was about. So I stopped the car and climbed over the fence and over the ravine and tried not to step on their dig. And so a fella came over and I said, what are you digging here? What's going on? And he said, it's a farmhouse. And you could see the foundation. And I said, well, I'm with the Genealogical Society. We just want to know if there are any burials. And he said, we haven't come across any. I said, who's doing the dig? What university? Oh, this is a private company. For who? The Ontario government. And he didn't know where the records were going to go. I suppose Helen Schmidt would know whose farm that was. It's kind of across the road from the beautiful stone home that they just knocked down. Nobody took well, it's hard to take away a stone home.
Stone house used to belong to William Allen.
Allen?
A-L-L-I-N.
I-N. Oh, that's the Bowmanville Allen spelling, is it?
Yes.
No relation.
No?
But I know because I'm related to that bunch.
Okay.
They came from Ireland. The name was originally A-L-L-E-N, but Mr. Allen had a dispute with some brothers and sisters.
So we changed it from
to
E-N to Allen, from E-N to I-N.
Correct.
Well,
it's not the Newcastle Allen. Newcastle and Bowmanville Allen.
Yes.
With I-N. It's a different group altogether.
Yeah, well, I know a little bit about that family too, but not to say it now, well, nothing bad. But the farmhouse across the road must have been older, and then he pointed to a line of trees, and he said that's where the barn used to be. But I don't know if they're going to dig that as well, because it may not be where the road is going. But I guess they had to get all this digging done. There's a telephone pole right through part of the foundation. But they were still digging in all this hot weather. They had 4 ladies, they were digging off in one spot, or sifting, and 4 guys. I guess they kind of equalized the men and women, but they stuck together, and he must have been the boss.
So what is the purpose of that dig?
Just, I guess, to find out what is there. There was another fellow with doing the drawings and doing the mapping of the dig, and that's as far as I got on inquiring.
Must have been a pioneer house, maybe.
Yes, yes, it was a stone foundation, and he didn't say what they found, and I don't know how we'll find out unless this goes from the private company to the government, and the government says you can have the information without a fee. And that doesn't happen too often these days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those kind of digs when they were doing the 407 through Whitby there too.
There's another dig there?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
That's all over with.
Bob, do you want to come up and say something?
Now Sheila's already told me she doesn't have a treasurer's report, so I think I may go look at the books shortly. Make sure she stays honest. No, I'm just kidding.
It was a great vacation.
Yes, where did you go on the money? So our upcoming meetings, we have the Irish Palatines of Ontario. Carolyn Heald wrote this particular book. You can't read it, but it's the Irish Palatines of Ontario, an extremely thrilling title. And Roger Shire is now the chair of the Irish Palatine Group, the special interest group of OGS. So it'll be really interesting to hear about the Irish Palatines. We had quite a settlement in Durham region, up Brock Township way, I believe. So looking forward to that one. Our DNA Special Interest Group will be meeting Wednesday, September 21st at 7:30. We actually don't have a topic picked, but that didn't stop us in August. We managed to have quite a lengthy meeting just discussing various aspects, and I'm sure that's what will happen again. Steve will be chairing the September one. Now, just a few announcements, and then we're going to do some little bits and pieces that people have told me about here at the break. So, one of the first ones is the FISCO, the British Isles Family History Society of Greater Ottawa, usually holds a fall seminar / conference, and it's this weekend. So you still have time if you're interested in heading up to Ottawa, and the topics of interest are Irish family history, and the other topic, main topic, is DNA. Both very good topics. Just briefly, Toronto branch has an excellent education committee, and here are the 4 courses that are happening this fall. Ancestry.ca Library Edition. Most of these are, the first 3 are basically 3-week courses, either Wednesday or Thursday. I don't have dates and times. You'll have to go to their website, which I show at the bottom. Early Ontario Land Records. So if you've got people here in early Ontario, basically when it was Upper Canada, or even back to when the first land boards were set up. It's Jane McNamara, and it's hands-on. It's going to be right at the Archives of Ontario. So that's going to be, if you've not gotten into land research, you may want to sign up for that one. I believe there's only 2 or 3 spots left on that one. There's Genetic Genealogy with Linda Reed. Again, another 3-week course. And then Jane I'm not sure who's doing the basic genealogy and family history. I think that's a 4 or 5-week course. If you want to have a refresher or to get some pointers and you're brand new at genealogy, that would probably be well worth it. I mentioned this one last time. This is the Quaker Canadian Friends Historical Association. And since it's in Durham region, I thought I'd mention it again. It is the 24th of September, and it's going to be up at the Uxbridge Historical Center, the Uxbridge Scott Museum and Archives. And they're going to be doing a bus tour in the morning. Or if I got, no, the morning is the business meeting. The bus tour is the afternoon, and then they've got a banquet. So if you're interested or have Quakers in Ontario, that would probably be well worth your while. I believe it's Alan McGilvery, who used to be the curator of the museum and has a wealth of knowledge, who is conducting the bus tour, so it will be good. Another conference coming up is the the weekend before our workshop, so it's October. This is being put together by three Ontario genealogists, and it's going to feature all Canadian speakers. So it is worth looking at. The Friday, they're going to have a hands-on research at the archives. It's taking place in Brampton. So I'm just going to go on to our fall workshop. And I am a little late getting things to you. I had far too much fun doing cemeteries over the summer. Anyway, our confirmed speakers are Ruth Blair from Oakville and Steve Wood. Steve is going to be doing the Scottish talk, and Ruth will be doing Ulster, Ireland, and England and Wales talk. So there's 4 lectures and a lunch. We will be getting, as soon as I get PayPal registration set up, we'll be doing PayPal up on the website. We'll also, I've asked Anne to put together a downloadable registration form if you prefer to send it in with a check. And we'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks. Me long distance, and the rest trying to carry the ball for me, because I'm heading down east Thursday. So we'll see how we do about getting this set up. But if you're interested in being notified by email when we have everything ready to go, just sign up on this, or you can just keep checking the blog and the Facebook group page. And the last one I have, I'm going to go back to the Quaker one. There is some registration forms here on the front. Also on the front here is the sheet that we got at the end of conference this year. And it's about next year's conference, which is June 16 to 18 in Ottawa. It'll be at the Algonquin College. And they have arranged a special rate for the Algonquin, what do you call it, student dorms, residents, thank you. And I think it's $89 a night, and it's a 2-bedroom suite, as far as residences have suites, that is. But they are 2 separate bedrooms and a bathroom kitchenette. So that's not open for registration yet, but keep a watch on the website, which is conference2017.ogs.on.ca. So Anne had something to talk about, so I'll ask Anne to come up.
I live in a family with 2 pack rats, so sometimes that can be good for genealogy, sometimes bad if you're trying to find something. But we decided that, I decided that I need to get rid of some things, so I brought a box from the attic in to check through, see if there's anything I could get rid of, and I found Pickering Township Area No. 2 Staff Handbook from 1967. So it's got all kinds of names of people who were in the educational business in it, and the salaries of teachers in 1967 too, things like that. So you never know what you'll find. And I found 1975 telephone book, which has lots of information in it. You had people that you think might have been in Durham region at that time. But also, the other thing I wanted to mention was, there's this little newspaper that comes out once a month in Clarington. It's called the Clarington Promoter. And you find it sitting around in stores and things like that, and you might think that it's not very useful, but each issue has a big article about a historical or genealogical topic every month. This one is about the McLaughlin family, and it tells all the various members and what they did, and because they were very busy people. So most, if you're from this area, you probably already know about the McLaughlin family, but I was particularly interested in it because it had some information about Tyrone. Now, I'm a person who edits Wikipedia a lot, so I immediately went to the Tyrone article in Wikipedia, and this is what it said. Tyrone is a small village north of Bowmanville, period. Well, that was totally true. So I was able to use information from this article to expand the article about Tyrone to something someone might actually get some information out of, you know. If you find any little papers like this, or if you see some local history article, I like to fix up the Wikipedia articles about local historical places. I know that you can't use Wikipedia really for references to prove your genealogical pedigree, because the articles are varying quality, but we're trying to get them to be better. So the way to get them to be better is to find facts and put them in. So I would be interested if anybody finds in their area, because I only get the ones from Clarington, if your area has little papers like that, or articles in, I don't know, in the Ajax Advertiser, is it, or whatever, with the Free Press, or I'm not up on those. But if you see something you think that might make a good Wikipedia article, and you don't want to fix it yourself, because anybody can edit Wikipedia, you could pass it to me, and I will put stuff in the encyclopedia. But I won't promise to get it back, though, so don't give it anything that you value, just things you're finished with, okay?
Goes to the box in the attic.
No, actually, I recycle them.
Thank you, Anne. I hadn't realized you were an editor on Wikipedia.
Well, anybody can be. It's pretty easy.
Dan, you had something you wanted to
Yes.
demonstrate?
I think I'll just speak about it.
Okay.
Now, because it's 9:12 and it's probably a little different time for people watching on the streaming, you would see on this screen we're getting farther and farther behind with real time. But yeah, we're still streaming it. I don't know if anybody's watching it because we haven't been monitoring and chatting with anybody. But just again, back to newspapers. Bea mentioned that there was somebody looking for in the old Orono papers for the most beautiful baby. Was that it?
Best baby.
Best baby. And I'd like to get some more information from you on that, because I've gone after the old local newspapers who live in Bowmanville. So there's the Bowmanville Statesman, the Orono Times, and I forgot another one that has been digitized. And you don't even need to use a library card number to get into it now, these electronic records. So actually I got started in it because I've been taking my car to a local dealer whose garage has been around for a long time in downtown Bowmanville. And he's right next to where there used to be the old lawn bowling. And now that's been sold off and a new apartment building put there. But I was going through pictures and in the Statesman and found one that was taken showing his shop behind the lawn bowling, and you could tell from the cars and the costumes. This picture must have been taken in about 1919. I think the Bowmanville Statesman started in 1854. There is a little blank area, about a 5-year blank area where they don't have the scans, but they're much better scans now. And you can, when you find, and you can search. It's optically character read. You know, it sometimes works very well, but for my family name, it works very well because if you look up DeLong, the odd time it's spelled with a space between the DE and the LNG, so you might get long occasionally, but it even gets highlighted when you look it up, and you can download any page, full page of the newspaper, of the recordings. My notes are here. I just started doing this again. I've got some, there goes another note on the floor, but sometimes I do print them out. And you can download the whole page and then just take a section of it, you know, clip out a section of it and print that part that you want. And I think it'd be better if, because it's, what, 9:15 now. If I show that at another meeting when we have the computers and the projector all hooked up and not have to go struggling through finding the area of the Clarington Library that has this information. I guess that's, yes, any questions? The Ordinal Times is one. Bowmanville Statesman, yeah, that was, which, there's probably another one, but.
There's another Ordinal.
Yeah, I think the Newcastle Independent, some of those are there too. But it'd be better if maybe at our next meeting, if there's time, go into this in more detail, or you can just try to find it yourself. And then, I would show how to go about actually finding it, getting the pages highlighted, download the PDF, take a capture of the portion that you want, print it out as I've done here, maybe even enhance it, that sort of thing, make it a better print, because sometimes they come out pretty muddy looking, especially photographs, how to improve those as well. It would take maybe 15 minutes. It'd be a good mini talk for another time.
You're on for October.
Okay.
Nancy?
Yes.
Just about the baby picture. Yes, the Orono Times is still going, so that person could just ask them directly for a picture.
I responded back.
Excellent.
And CC'd you on that as well, with your suggestions.
Great, that's great.
Okay. Now, I have used the Bowmanville Statesman on the Clarington Library website, and then I went back to find it again. It's a little difficult to find on their website.
It is.
But I think if you just do the general search thing and put in Bowmanville Statesman, you might get it. I'm not quite sure. Did the other two sections get the clipboard? Oh, great. Okay. Did anybody have a great find this summer? Genealogically, that is. You might have had a wedding or two, or a funeral or two. I hope not too many. But anybody have a great wow moment?
Well, I did keep her twice now. Because it was such a well moment. It's, what?
You have to come up so people can hear you. Well, I'm not sure that the feed will catch you very well.
But do you want to hear it for the first time? This was a DNA match, remember?
Well, I've heard it at the DNA SIG group, but I think the general group here would find it very interesting. So, well, you've got a couple minutes. But I think this is a good one, and I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it, folks.
Okay, so
Come up and use the microphone.
I will, yes. So my sister and I have been doing researching for, 6 years, and my mother was adopted when she was 20 months by a family in Manitoba, and her parents both died in North Dakota in 1920 from the Spanish flu. So when she was adopted and moved with her to her new family, she really knew nothing about her biological family. So we didn't know. So we found a letter that was sent her by one of her biological sisters. Only she didn't keep in touch with most of the family of her 8 siblings. Pardon?
Can't hear you.
Oh, yes, sorry. So this statement from the one sister that she did keep in touch with listed the Morris family. And then from there, we started researching, and we discovered a lot. One of my 3 times great-grandmother's last name was Sampson, S-A-M-P-S-O-N. And her first name was Lorinda. Her father's name was Antoine Sampson, and he spelled it S-A-M-S-O-N. We were never able to determine. We suspected, well, because they lived in Quebec, we just suspected there was some French connection, but we weren't certain about it. So this is 6 years later, and I had my DNA tested by both Ancestry and Family Tree, or not Family Tree. Family Tree, yeah. Pardon me?
Family tree DNA.
Thanks, yeah, DNA. So in June, this past summer, I decided to take all the names of the people where we didn't really know where they originated, and enter it into, you know, the DNA, the search engine for Family Tree DNA, and for Ancestry. And what popped up with the Ancestry DNA was Samson from Quebec, and it appeared from that the family lived in the same region as my 3 times great-grandmother and her father. So I phoned my sister very excited because I really felt there was a connection there. And as we were talking on the phone, we both entered the Sampson family name into the search engine for Google. And what pops up is this Charles Sampson, who provided maybe 16 pages of 7 generations of the Sampsons, who originally came from Normandy, France in 1665 to Quebec. And just the 2 brothers came here to Quebec, and from there you have 7 generations later. And this is a result of a match, a DNA match. So I started looking at this lady's family tree, and things started connecting, right? So I wrote Charles and said, this is the background that I have, and we're trying to find out more about Antoine Sampson. And he wrote back and said, I will help you with this. So over a 3-week period, we narrowed it down and discovered that my 3 times great-grandmother, well, he would be my 4 times great-grandfather, was part of the 7 generations. And we discovered that he was a descendant of Gabriel Sampson from Normandy, France, from 1665. So we didn't know any of this until this summer. We didn't know that the family originated from France, and then we started reading more, and I belonged to the Quebec Historical Society and started reading about it, and discovered that Antoine Sampson, my 4 times great-grandfather, as I mentioned, he descended from Gabriel. Gabriel and Jacques came from, as I mentioned, Normandy, but they were the founders, the pioneer founders of Quebec. So this has all been very, very exciting, and I really promote the idea of getting your DNA done because this is the 2nd find this year. The first one was in January, where we did discover that my great-grandfather, who we knew very little about, we found out that he had a 2nd wife, which was my grandmother, and that a person that we've been connecting up with in England was a cousin, and she was a descendant of his 1st wife, which we didn't know. So things are starting to happen, and as a result, I think I spend every other day checking my DNA matches now. Because all these very difficult brick walls are being broken down. And it's because of DNA. It's not because of research, because we have the research in place. So I just thought, I think this is about the 3rd time, and it'll probably be 4 or 5 times I'll be telling everybody about this, because I just find it very exciting that you can open up a page and suddenly from that, you have all these people that are now your cousins, and you go back to 1665. Well, we have never been able to do that. Okay.
Well, I certainly can't beat 1665, particularly on this side of the ocean. Thanks, Karen, that's wonderful. Anybody else have a wow moment they need to talk about? Because we'll listen. Your family might not, but we will. I think we did all that stuff instead of the big brick wall bomb. We'll do that next time. So before I close, is there anything, any questions anybody wants to ask or mention? If not, our next meeting is Tuesday, October 4th. It's the Irish Palatines of Ontario. It will be here in this room. And keep an eye out on the blog and the Facebook group, and we will definitely keep you up to date on what's happening with the workshop.